I still see this comment almost daily. And I can't help but laugh or cry or do something. I don't know. It's really hard to read. The future of cars is hydrogen. Clearly EVs can't compare. Hydrogen cars are so much better. EVs just pollute. Now I see this sort of thing everywhere. But the reality is that all the investment going into hydrogen cars is a colossal waste of money. But even worse, the investment that the United States government is committing to hydrogen cars is utterly diabolically insane, especially when you look at the actual sales of hydrogen cars in the United States, which last year declined by 20% and represent around 0.01% of the United States new car market. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Sam Evans. I'm coming to you from Bangkok in Thailand. I'm the Electric Viking. It's great to have you here. And if you're new to the channel, well, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. But if you're new, we've done 2,800 and something or other videos since we started the channel less than 2 years ago. So make sure you ring that little icon notification bell and subscribe so you can see and hear about what exactly is going on in the industry. I try to offer you guys an alternative viewpoint, which I usually call the facts, the truth. The truth of the hydrogen car is it is dying, not growing. Sales are going down. In the US last year, there were 2,700 poor sorry souls who bought a hydrogen-powered car. Now, why do I say that? Well, right now there's 53 places in the United States where they can put hydrogen into their vehicle. 53 in total. So, yeah, it's kind of problematic. And the reason it's problematic is if you go and buy a hydrogen car, they won't tell you at the dealership. I can tell you this now because of what people have told me. They won't tell you. You can't drive anywhere. I mean, yeah, you can drive within California, but there are almost no hydrogen refilling stations outside of California. So if you want to use your fancy, expensive, not fancy, but your expensive hydrogen-powered car to drive anywhere outside of California, well, you'll need to take a tanker with you. Good luck with that. In 2022, Toyota sold 2,094 Toyota Mirais, an average transaction price of around $65,000. Hyundai sold 408 Nexos, and 205 other models were sold. Now, BMW is about to launch the iX5 hydrogen-powered vehicle in California this year. They'll be manufacturing them, in fact, in the United States. So that means a total of 2,700 hydrogen-powered vehicles were sold. Now, you would think the investment from the US government would reflect the actual demand for these cars, which is going down 19%. This is not technology that is getting significantly better. It's actually been developed and been around for over 40 years now. A lot of people are complaining. The Biden administration is investing too much money into electric cars, into batteries, into electric vehicle charging stations. But if you actually have a look at the amount of money that the Biden administration is committing to EVs, to the rollout of EVs, to supporting the infrastructure, per car, it's significantly less than what's being invested into hydrogen. For example, the US government believes that California should have over 1,000 hydrogen refueling stations by 2030. 6.5 years from now, it's the US government's plan to have an additional 947 hydrogen refueling stations for around 2,700 sales per year. In other words, each hydrogen-powered car will pretty much have its own fueling station. Well, not exactly, but not far from it. Actually, when you think about it, that'd probably make a lot of sense. The reason I say that is because a hydrogen refueling station only stores enough hydrogen to power 50 cars. That's a little known fact that not many people are aware of. So in other words, once that fueling station receives its 50th customer, it will have run out of hydrogen and need to be restocked. It will need a tanker to come back after 50 cars have been supplied with hydrogen to refill it. Now, the US government intends to invest around $10 billion over the next few years on hydrogen infrastructure and on supporting the hydrogen rollout. A lot of that money will be invested in California, where obviously the state government or the California government has heavily invested into hydrogen refueling stations. Now, what I find even more fascinating is that the United States and California plan on rolling out these incredible new hydrogen installations where your home will be powered by hydrogen, which is extremely volatile. Now, for example, a hydrogen fueling station in Norway spectacularly exploded not long ago, killing 11 people. Unfortunately, there were no witnesses left to tell the tale because everyone in the vicinity was blown up. So my question is this an option? Would you like to have this in your house? Well, the High Deal LA Public and Private Consortium plans to produce large quantities of hydrogen to replace a significant portion of the natural gas now used in the region for heating and power generation, and to replace gasoline and diesel used for transportation. This group, along with the government, are planning to build gigawatts of solar power and electrolyzer capacity and billions of dollars of new underground storage underneath your home, including pipeline infrastructure. It estimates the project will cost $27 billion over the next 15 years. Another consortium in Utah intends to build large-scale facilities to produce hydrogen via clean energy-powered electrolyzers and solar and store it in salt caverns with an initial estimated cost of around $2 billion. This project is also linked to Los Angeles. Its intended customer is the city's Department of Power and Water, the government, which wants to convert its Intermountain coal-fired power plant in Utah to run on hydrogen. Salt caverns also exist in the US Gulf Coast region, the center of the country's oil and gas and petrochemicals industries. Coincidence? I think not. Hydrogen company Hystore is planning a $3 billion hydrogen project that will use wind and solar power to electrolyze hydrogen at massive scale and massive cost, then store it in salt caverns in Mississippi. A number of other projects in the region are planning to convert natural gas to hydrogen and capture the resulting carbon emissions, although they don't know yet what technology they'll use to capture those emissions. Other hydrogen hubs in the US are seeking a seat at the table and some of the cash. In New York, state agencies are hoping to create a statewide production and use network centered on plans by Plug Power, a manufacturer of fuel cells and electrolyzers, to build a green hydrogen production facility that will use hydropower and other carbon-free electricity. Projects to use excess nuclear electricity to produce hydrogen are being pursued at Xcel Energy's Prairie Island Nuclear Power Plant in Minnesota and Arizona Public Service's Palo Verde Nuclear Plant. Proponents of all of these projects would like to get a slice of the federal hydrogen hub money. And US Senator Joe Manchin, the West Virginia Democrat, whose support will be critical for the Biden administration's broader climate and energy agenda, has led the creation of a hydrogen working group to develop a West Virginia hydrogen project to vie for some of the hub funding. Famously, Joe Manchin opposed the electric vehicle infrastructure spending and EV incentives rolled out by the Biden administration. So one would think that if the US plans on spending so much money on hydrogen infrastructure, that therefore hydrogen cars would be getting better and becoming more popular around the world. But actually, it's not the case at all. Toyota's new Mirai, the new model for 2023, has a few changes to the car. It costs the same amount of money, but it has an amazing technological suite, they say. It also claims that its automated driving software is better than Tesla's and it operates at a level 3 advanced driver assist, meaning you can drive without your hands on the wheel. It's got LiDAR, radar, and all kinds of other cool stuff to mean that yes, Toyota is well on its way to full self-driving. Well, so they claim. Very few manufacturers around the world currently claim that they're at a level 3, and I don't believe Toyota's claims that it is. The car is exactly the same as the car that Toyota produced in 2021. Nothing has changed. It's still quite expensive. It still starts at around $60,000 and it still sells in tiny numbers, which is the same for the global, which is exactly the same and the same can be said for the sales of hydrogen-powered cars all over the world. They are not being adopted. Most automakers have given up on the hydrogen car dream. But the US, for some reason, they haven't. California, in particular, really hasn't. In fact, while there's 53 hydrogen refueling stations in California now, California plans on having 100 by the end of this year and 200 by the end of 2025. They don't seem to care that no one wants hydrogen-powered cars. They just seem extremely interested in pursuing a hydrogen agenda. One has to ask the logical question, why is this? What's funding this? Who is behind this? Who exactly is driving these directives to continue investing billions upon billions of dollars into hydrogen infrastructure that no one is currently using? I mean, if no one is buying the cars, then who exactly will be using all these hydrogen refueling stations in California? And who stands to lose from the operation of these facilities? It doesn't seem to matter as far as government is concerned. Let's keep spending. And who knows? Maybe at some point, people will actually start buying the cars. But personally, I think it's unlikely. In fact, I would say there's zero chance of this ever happening. Will the government wake up and realize that? Or will some kind of hidden agenda here continue to play out? Am I simply being a conspiracy theorist, or is there something going on? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching.